Hello and welcome to the Join Dota League Season 3 here on HeflaTV 2. I have no idea what's going on with the lobby, but this is supposed to be a best of 2 between Duza and Moscow 5. As for casters, I'm Grandis V, and I'll be joined by Mike Loris, hopefully if we can get all of these stupid lobby issues worked out.
I don't know where the admin went, but he's not here anymore. I didn't load into the game at all. I was just instantly kicked out after the loading screen, so
Okay, so what's happening on my side is I've loaded into the game, but I haven't loaded into the game. Like, I can see the map, but I can't get out of this game.
well, I'll see that on stream in a little bit.
Yeah, it's
So,
really weird, and nobody else is here. Like, it's just me.
yeah, everyone else, we have some M5 people, and the Iceberg, Duza, and Nexus are in the lobby saying some things, but it seems like everyone just got separated.
Yeah, because it looks like I'm the lobby host now, because the admin disconnected before the game actually started. I think that's what's going on. Okay, so the game actually just died. So it finally timed out on my side, and...
Oh, wait, my thing is finding server now.
Yeah, mine is too. Huh.
What the hell is going on?
I have no idea. Oh well. The curse continues. Duza, they were fashionably late. They came here like 15 minutes after they were supposed to, and... by the strictest definition of the rules, that's supposed to be game 1 forfeit, but the admin is nice and wants to have all of the Dota played, especially at the higher tiers, so... we are going to have 2 games, I think, today, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure, because the admin's not actually here. But into the game we go. I think that everybody is here, at least all of the players, and, well, we're here as well, so... we are witnesses to this game 1.
Yeah, it's not like the admins actually do anything. They just set up the lobby, then they can do whatever the hell they want, because they're not actually very useful in most cases. They're not really rule enforcers, honestly, from what I've seen of JD admins, but enough of those firing shots, because we have a draft here, Moscow 5 versus Duza. I think it's hard to say that, well, Moscow 5 have a pretty sizable advantage, I think.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Mostly just due to their star power. I think their individual play is better, and from what I've seen, they play as a more cohesive unit, I think. Moscow 5, they've looked really strong in the past couple of weeks, and also, they come to the lobby on time, so that's a win in my book.
Yeah, plus points for being polite and considerate to the admins and the casters and stuff like that. But not only do they have that star power, but these players have all been around the block like several times. We have TGG, who's been in the scene for millions of years. Tratata, who I believe is Vigos, he's been here in Dota since the beginning of time. And then Nexus, Brain. Tipo is the one who
That's Tron.
I think... What?
Tipo is Tron. That's Cyrillic.
Okay, well, he's probably the one who's been around for the least amount of time as far as names that are recognizable, but Moscow 5, they've been here, all these players, for a very long time, and it's hard to deny how strong these players are.
It really is. Luckily, the draft is progressing pretty quickly, as the first bans as well as the first picks are all out, with Faceless Void, Tinker, as well as Lycanthrope and Jakiro being banned. And well, the first pick is going to be Death Prophet, response from Duza Gaming, so it's going to be Skyrath Mage and Earthshaker, and then Moscow 5 picked themselves up a Batrider.
Well, it's a pretty solid opening for the Moscow 5 side. I have seen Moscow 5 play with the Jakiro a little bit more than other teams, though still not sure if that's completely a necessity to ban out. It's a dangerous hero for sure, but Duza Gaming is going to make sure that they don't have to deal with that. They're not going to go for any pushing, it looks like, Moscow 5, except for the Death Prophet that they picked up. Batrider could set up for some pushing after you initiate a fight, but I don't know if they really want to do that right now. It will depend on what they feel like, though.
Shadow Shaman is still available in the pool, so if they want a little bit more pushing without completely committing to it, I think they could pick up that hero. As far as what Duza Gaming get out of the first couple of picks, their supporting duo is probably one of the best that's available in the entire pick of heroes. Skyrath Mage and Earthshaker can function in pretty much every scenario. They're good roaming, they're good defensively, they can sit in a lane, zone out an offlaner pretty well, and they abuse farm pretty well as a supporting duo, and they can still function without it. So yeah, I think their first 2 picks are pretty solid as well. They pick up the Viper afterwards, after the second ban stage, which actually went very quickly from both of these teams. So they're probably going to have a Mechanism carrier, and both of these teams look like they have a pretty solid start to the draft.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the tankier heroes being kicked out in the second phase. Brewmaster, Centaur, both very tanky. Razor does get very tanky as well. And the only one who really slipped by is the Viper. Moscow 5 will go for that Shadow Shaman that you said before, so possibly gearing for a little bit more pushing. The likes of Nature's Prophet are still in the pool. Duza Gaming, they don't really have that many great ways of initiating a fight before the Shadow Shaman and Death Prophet are set up. And with the Bat Rider already on Moscow 5's side, I'm inclined to think that Duza are going to struggle to get initiation unless they pick up something like a Clockwork. It will be a pretty large benefit for them. It'll synergize really great with the Skywrath Mage, and it'll let them jump on the Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman before they're actually set up. And before you could, if you do that before the Serpent Wards are down, before Exorcism has been popped, then it's very easy to take a fight.
Yeah, I think that would be a really solid pick for them. As far as other offliners that are available, if they want to go more into a 5-on-5 team fight route, they could pick up the Tidehunter. Although I think just a single target initiation from the Clockwork is probably your best bet, especially since Centaur is out of the pool and Brewmaster is not available either. So I would be surprised to see that from Duza Gaming, but they might also pick up just another core, presumably a farming one for either their mid or safe lane, or if the Viper is not going.
Yeah, and Viper is most likely going to be matched up against Death Prophet right now in the mid lane. There's nothing to really indicate he is going to be going anywhere else. As far as other cores, they will need a little bit of late game damage. Viper, and if they do go for initiating hero, those usually don't have that much damage later on, especially like considering the Clockwork, he doesn't actually do much damage in the late stage. Early on, he could kill people, but later on in the game, he will scale down pretty quickly. And really, if you let Moscow 5 have 100% of the initiation power with Bat Rider, then Duza Gaming are going to be purely defensive. And they don't have any great heroes to deal with Bat Rider just yet. I mean, Earthshaker's okay with the Fissure, but that's about it. So they need someone who could kind of counter the Bat Rider initiation as well as someone to do damage. Core VS in this scenario wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah, would work pretty well with the Skywrath Mage, Earthshaker, Tri-Lane, a lot of lockdown and damage coming out from those three. They could throw that wherever they wanted to, and if they went safe lane, they could very easily roam off the Skywrath Mage as well as the Earthshaker to get some kills. I could definitely see that working out for them, although it still would run them into the issue that they don't have anything that scales particularly well late. They will pick up the Rubik. Whoa, Duza Gaming go for something that I was not expecting in the slightest. I'm going to assume this is a mid Skywrath Mage now, although mid Shaker, I'm not opposed to it.
Mid Skywrath Mage is the safest assumption, but Core Shaker is definitely the most fun assumption. Skywrath Mage versus Death Prophet is a perfectly reasonable matchup for both heroes. They'll both be able to pick at each other pretty well, and well, Moscow 5, they're going to go with the Gyrocopter, so they are more along the lines of early game fighting, whereas Duza, they will have a lot more early game power because one of these quote-unquote support heroes is going to be played as a core. So should the early game fights come to Duza's Gaming's doorstep, they probably will be prepared for it, especially if Skywrath Mage has a Mystic Flare. He's pretty much capable of 100-0ing anyone on the Moscow 5 side for a good portion of the game. So if Moscow 5 do want to play this a little bit more aggressively, then they're going to have to watch out, or at least try to shut down the Skywrath Mage in the early stage.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. We're still waiting on the last support from Moscow 5. I think they need a way to open up initiations in their tri-lane, or get the Shadow Shaman as well as Gyrocopter in position to be able to get kills. Because when you're shackled someone down with the Rocket Barrage acting onto them, it's a very easy kill as long as you're able to get to that point. So either they go boots first on the Shadow Shaman, or they pick up something that can initiate from range. I think, let's see, Venge wouldn't be bad on their side, actually. The defensive swaps out of the Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare would be pretty solid, as well as just the general utility of the hero, especially on the Dire side, will give them fairly easy access to Roshan with Shadow Shaman and Death Prophet. I'm not sure if there's any other big supports that are still left that they'd want to go for. Wraith King's still available, and that wouldn't be a bad pick either.
Yeah, I think Wraith King is probably the best one for them. It's a nice range setup for Shadow Shaman, so that Gyrocopter can get in and blast enemies with his guns and stuff. And, well, Duza Gaming, they're probably not going to go for that Wraith King, so I think that's going to be what Moscow 5 want to do if they want to play this, a little bit more vanilla. They could always go off the rails and pick up something a little bit differently, but I think if they really just want to have this Gyrocopter have a safe time in the lane and farm up and also have some kill potential, they need another stun. And with the enemy team having an Earthshaker and a Rubik, there aren't that many play stuns left that are really going to work out for them. Wraith King, I think, is just the best bet for having a bulky hero to put on the front lines because they're a little bit light on the bulk, and also just having that play stun early. Duza Gaming, they have one more core to pick up, and what is it going to be? Again, the Bat Rider is going to be a pretty large problem. They have the Nature's Prophet banned out from them, and OD is going to be the pick. Very interesting. It crushes Death Prophet and Bat Rider in lane. It's not too bad in that stage.
Yeah, before Moscow 5 get a BKB on their Gyrocopter and or their Death Prophet Batrider, this OD could be very scary. I'm going to expect this to be an Earthshaker farming tri-lane, as weird as that is. I think that getting the Earthshaker and early Blink Dagger this game is going to be very important for Duza, as they don't have a great way to start the fights without that available. So I'm going to lean towards the Earthshaker being the farming core instead of the Scarith Mage. Yeah, and I don't think that you can actually do much else. You could go aggressive with the Viper and then leave the Earthshaker solo safe versus presumably the Batrider. Although he's going to lose the lane, quote unquote, he'll still be able to get some good levels and a Blink Dagger to decent timing. Last pick for Moscow 5 is going to be a Chen.
Well, that's a pretty interesting pickup. I haven't seen Chen in quite a long time. It is kind of in line with Moscow 5's goals for fighting early and being super aggressive before the Duza Gaming heroes get online. And well, OD is fairly effective in the early stage, but if you get close to him with a Rocket Barrage or something like that, then suddenly he is going to be really quickly killed off. And Moscow 5, this Chen is probably going to be pretty successful, I would say. Duza's early game, with the possibility of a core Skywrath, and it looks like it will be that, is going to be okay, but it's nothing really to write home about, as well, everyone is going to their lanes. Moscow 5, though, they're all going to the top. We have Blow, I believe that is Blow Your Brain, playing Gyrocopter up on top. Tron is on the Batrider. Nexus following up as the Shadow Shaman support, and also supporting is going to be PGG's Chen, and then Tradada, that's Vigos, on the Death Prophet.
And on the side of the Radiant, we are going to have Duza Gaming with that Scarith Mage, starting out with the Null Talisman as well as Tenga, is played by Limbo, presumably going to be a farming core. He's going to be going towards the top lane to start things off, as Captain Lev is going to be playing in the Earthshaker. And, well, OD going to take him to mid, played by Iceberg, and bottom is going to be Viper, played by Legion, and he'll be supported by a Rubik, played by Unstable. Very peculiar laning choice coming out from Duza. They're going to go for dual lanes. Not something that I was expecting at all, but then again, I didn't really expect the OD pick.
You know, Captain Love is still chilling up top. At the very least, they're going to have two players down on bottom. Viper doesn't really need help at all in lane, so I think going aggressive with the three supports, or the three support E heroes in the Rubik, Skywrath, and Earthshaker is probably the best way to go for Duza. Viper is capable of soloing his lane, as is the OD, so having a super aggressive lane, knowing that the Chen is only sometimes going to be there, I think is probably going to be Duza's best bet. But instead, they're going to try to guarantee the farm as much as they can for the Viper. And I mean, the Viper that gets a quick mech is always nice, but this is at the cost of your Skywrath Mage, because he's going to struggle up top.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a very peculiar laning choice coming out from them. The Skywrath Mage, still, I'm not entirely sold on them giving him the farming core position, as I'm not sure he's going to be able to use the farm better than maybe giving it to the Earthshaker. With the way that Duza have their lanes and everything set up, I think that Blink Dagger is a little bit more important than anything the Skywrath Mage is going to be bringing to the table. But still, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and we see something along the lines of like a Rod of Atos coming out from him. His local potential, as well as just the ability to use that utility in the team fights, is pretty strong. As all Shadow Shaman, he's going, or rather Rubik, is going to bump into the Batrider inside the jungle. He's fighting through the fire, and won't be able to get that kill as Firefly is forced out.
Batrider is going to be playing a little bit more defensively. Taking a quick look at the top lane, it seems like Skywrath Mage is going to be the one farming up, although Captain Love is also trying to go for the last hits, or I saw him try to go for a last hit, so it should be a Skywrath Mage farming with just Earthshaker support. Dual lane Skywrath Mage isn't terrible, especially if you do have a little bit of setup, so you could throw a couple more Arcane Bolts. If you do get the level 6 quickly enough, and with the dual lane you probably will get a lot faster than otherwise, then you could definitely get some kills on the M5 heroes, but the two heroes right now, they're fairly vulnerable. If Nexus gets a disable onto Limbo, that could be the death of the Skywrath Mage, but he has Shock level 1. Right-click some Chen won't be enough, and with a Fissure to block, the Skywrath Mage will escape. If Nexus had anything but that Shock, I think that would have been a kill.
Yeah, either Hex or Shackles. Probably Shackles your best bet there. But yeah, very, very peculiar choice, but he's going to bump into Limbo again. A couple of right-clicks and a shock. This could be our first play. He's getting body blocked up by the Earthshaker. He only needs one shock. Oh, nice Fissure comes out, and that'll block off Nexus. No boots on the Shadow Shaman, and Skywrath Mage being a fast hero will keep him pretty safe.
And then the bottom lane, Batrider's been playing so many games with this Rubik. He's been constantly hiding in the trees, or trying to hide in the trees, but both the Viper and the Rubik are making sure that this Batrider is not going to get that much experience. He's still level 1, and he'll probably remain that way because these two heroes are playing so aggressively. We see M5, they're going to smoke up with two heroes plus a troll. So they're going to look towards top lane, it looks like. This should be a fairly simple dive onto Captain Love, especially if they could close in the distance and land a Rocket Barrage. It's only level 1, but it'll be more than enough damage to bring someone down, maybe even both of them down. With the troll leading the way, They're going to open up the net. Rocket Barrage not hitting onto too many people, or it's spreading between a lot of creeps at the very least. Captain Love off to the right, and Limbo off to the left. Looks like they want the Scarith Mage, and they're probably going to get him. He's going to try to dig for all he's worth, but I don't think he's going to escape. He's completely trapped. That's First Blood going the way of Nexus, and looks like the Earthshaker did walk out of there, but the tower might take a couple of hits. The Troll did end up dying, however, so not much power on the front lines.
Yeah. No, it's still First Blood going the way of Moscow 5, definitely a worthy rotation by them. It's kind of unfortunate that the creeps were there, maybe just an ill-timed gank, and their Troll wasn't very healthy to start things off, so it was probably going to die in any situation. Duza, with the exception of this top laner doing very well, the OD and Viper, kind of as expected, are having a really easy time. 20 and 8 compared to the 8 and 0 of the Death Prophet. Iceberg is coming out very far ahead, and the Viper, there's nothing the Batrider can do to punish this. 20 and 4 compared to the 0 and 0 of the Batrider. Rubik's done a good job of zoning out Tron here, so these dual lanes, although they're working out, I would have thought that the Rubik up top would have done more.
Yeah, and OD, this is really why people used to pick OD all the time, is because he dominates lanes, especially if he's up against an Inti-Hero. And Death Prophet, she's a pretty strong laner, but as far as her matchup versus OD, there's no way in hell that she's going to win that lane. It's just not going to happen. She is going to lose so much base damage once she loses the intelligence steal from Astral Imprison, and then she loses mana from Crypt Swarm, and then at that point, what could you really do? So I expect the OD to be completely dominant on that mid lane, and once it's level 6, the possibility for getting kills on this Death Prophet are definitely going to be there. The Death Prophet's going to need support, though. Chen is rotating in with the Hellbear. That's not going to be enough. They need more than that. So, they will need to bring in some support in, as we do see Batrider getting killed by a neutral creep. Not a terribly huge deal there. I don't know if that was intentional or if he was just trying to be greedy and farm, but either way, it's not going to be a real kill going the way to Duza. So scoreboard a little bit inaccurate now.
Yeah. Batrider did not spend very much of his gold before dying, and he just bought a TP scroll straight up to go back down towards bottom, so I don't think that was intentional. But either way, OD in mid continue to dominate. No big surprises there. There hasn't been a lot of action, but they might be able to catch at the Batrider here. Tron, he does have Firefly available. They do have a lift. They need more damage on this Batrider before they can hope to go for this kill. He's going to find himself a little nook inside the trees, and he'll be fine. But he's just not getting very much out of this lane at all.
He's not getting anything. He's going deep behind the enemy tier 1 tower. If Duza want to, they could circle a hero around like the Viper and catch up to him, and well, I mean, he's going to completely loop around the tower, and now he's home free, I guess. So, Batrider is pretty much completely out of this lane. There's nothing he could really do, as Iceberg and a little bit of pressure in mid. That's not going to be anything substantial. Tron has to figure out something in order to redeem himself in this game. He's going to pull some creeps. I think that's a good way to start. Also, just going into the jungle, farming that up would be another way to go, but if he sticks in this lane, he'll continue to just take damage. He now gets lift up. Viper, not quite in range for a poison attack. And here comes Nexus as well as PGG. There's a Shackle onto Unstable. They're going to bring down this Rubik very quickly with a Test of Faith, though Batrider did end up going down. Legion with 1 stack of tar. I don't think it'll be enough for them to get any more disables on this Viper. So it looks like he will survive, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. A support for the Batrider is going to be pretty fine for Duza.
Yeah, I would say so too, especially since this Batrider is not going to have anything without any stacks for him to fall back on. I think he has 1 in the large camp, but that's just not going to cut the cake as they go on top. The Rocket Barrage does not bring down the Skywrath Mage, and they might be able to get Blow Your Brain. No, the Flat Cannon is going to be enough to bring down the Skywrath as he didn't back off far enough, and Blow Your Brain's going to be fine. He doesn't have any salves in this lane. Earthshaker, he's...
BGG is going to get ganked up in the jungle, trying to take a creeper, trying to do a little bit of aggressive jungling, also end up going down. Bully Brain up on top, very, very low. The Fissure is not quite powerful enough to kill that Gyrocopter off, so it is a 1-for-1 trade all around the map, but it looks like Vigos has left the middle lane. He has Exorcism level 1 with 2 Witchcraft, so it's not too much power from that, but if they get a disable, any sort of disable on this Viper, I think they will have enough damage to bring him down. And let's see, there is 2 levels of Test of Faith, and that's pure damage. Viper is going to get shackled. Vigos already has his spirits active, and yeah, this Viper is dead. There he goes.
Yeah. Although it's not the most impressive of skills, it's still going to put a little bit of damage on this tier 1 tower. The Exorcism with only 2 in the Witchcraft is leaving a lot to be desired here, but I'll drop it down to about a third, I think, before they run out of duration. They're unfortunate that they don't have any Chen creeps. That would have made this push a lot better. I'm not even sure where PGG's creeps are. Shadow Shaman under the tower is going to fall after a nice Fissure, and just the nukes are enough. Vigos, his Exorcism is going to run out, and he'll throw a little bit more damage on this tower, but it's still going to be a kill going the way of Duza.
And Viper is going to teleport back, and Death Prophet making a pretty good rotation to kill off the Viper. honestly, she's pretty much in the same situation as the Bat Rider. She can't afford to stay in the mid lane, else she just not get anything. So she has to make something happen, and ganking another lane is perfectly reasonable way to go. But I expect Bat Rider to start stacking up a couple jungle camps. He got, unfortunately for him, 2 Mud Golem spawns, so it sucks to be him, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Vigos in the bottom lane did get fissured. He'll try to TP out, but the telekinesis says no, sir. That's gonna be the death of the Death Prophet. Very easily done by Duza on this bottom lane, and really, the lanes from Duza are so far winning them the game, like really, really handily.
Yeah, it's kind of what you almost expect coming up from a Viper and an OD is to win those lanes, and with both of them, they're winning 2 of their lanes. And even Top's not doing that terrible. I mean, the Scarth Mage, he has died twice, but he's still getting close to his level 6, and once he has that, that's more or less all Scarth really needs. But if he dies another time, this could be big. Double damage rune on the Shadow Shaman, they have the Shackles, and, well, if they land them onto Limbo, it could be a pretty easy kill. Gyrocopter is going to go aggressively in as they get the Hex. This call down is going to completely miss, and they don't get the Shackles. Limbo is going to go towards the north, and it looks like he's going to be fine. Yeah, I don't think they can actually chase him down, especially with TP support. Now the silence can guess the shot going the way of Blow Your Brain. Now the lift from the Rubik Scarlet Mage ulti. They're actually going to pull him out of it, which will save Blow Your Brain for a little bit longer, but the tower shots are going to prove too much for the Gyrocopter. And I don't know, that was a pretty deep dive. It did force Iceberg out of his lane, so Vigos is going to be pretty happy about that one, but it's still a win for Duza.
Bottom lane, PGG. He's completely surrounded. Viper is up to his north, but it looks like the Viper doesn't know exactly where the Chen went, so Chen gets to slip out of there. That was a very sticky situation for PGG, but somehow he manages to slip out. He now has his level 5, which is a key level for Chen. That means you get 2 creeps instead of just 1. And he'll be able to put some pressure on some towers soon, but I feel like Chen, despite his contributions, hasn't been contributing enough. As Iceberg in the middle lane, Exorcism is there, and the Shackles with the damage should be enough. He has a Astral Imprison for himself, or is he going to throw it on the Death Prophet? He's bottling up, and Death Prophet is pretty healthy still, so the OD can't get the kill, but OD is definitely going to survive. He's getting quite a bit of farm with his Power Treads already up, and PGG on the bottom lane. Viper Strike is there, and Legion is going to get this kill very easily. This Chen is going to be a rather low impact hero from here on out.
Yeah, I think he kind of missed his impact, really. As the Chen creeps, they weren't there for any of the early tower pushes. He hasn't been able to get any ganks, and yeah, he doesn't have any farm. He has Arcane Boots, which is nice, but honestly, his team would like to have a mechanism. Is unstable, finds himself a Bat Rider inside the jungle. Looks like he just got low. Unstable bopped him with a Fade Bolt and an auto attack, and that's all that it took as they get a kill onto the Gyrocopter up top.
M5, they're looking pretty disorganized and chaotic. I mean, having a Chen solo on the bottom lane in the lane is very, very rare to see, and Bat Rider trying to go to the contingency plan of stacking and killing the creeps, but again, he has now 2 Mud Golem spawns. This guy is so freaking unlucky. This is kind of just difficult to watch. He's unable to get that much farm. Still, Duza's lanes are just straight up winning them the game. Top lane not going the best, but Scarth Mage has a crucial level in the level 6, and that's really all he needs to be able to 100-0 pretty much anyone he wants. Legion's getting his mech gold, the OD's getting his 4-staff gold, and M5, they're not getting much gold at all. They're going to go for a bottom lane push. Nexus does not have level 6. They have Exorcism, though, and I think that should be enough to kill off the tower, or at least force many teleportations down from the Duza side. And yeah, there it is. Tron's in the air, and Legion's completely spotted out. He has a couple of spells that he could drop, Legion, but I don't think is going to be in time. He drops the Viper Strike on Nexus, but he's sticking the fire, and he's going to go down. Iceberg's going to arrive with the help of Captain Love. 2 shots will kill off the Shadow Shaman. Now Unstable's here as well. Going to get lift up onto Vigos. They have the OD ultimate. They will drop it onto the Death Prophet. Going to get Vigos a double kill. Ultimately, for M5, they get a kill on the Viper, which is nice, but losing 2 in exchange, not worth it.
Yeah, definitely not. I think one of the biggest problems for Moscow 5 at this point in the game is that they're not leading in the gold despite leading in the towers. It's mostly due to the kills that dudes have been able to get, but now we have a tower going down, denied by the Earthshaker, which is some gold that Moscow 5 desperately needed, especially for this Blink Dagger on the Bat Rider that's still not out at 11 minutes in. In a good game, usually you'll see a Bat Rider getting his Blink Dagger at below 9 minutes, but his impact just hasn't been felt so far. This Bat Rider, more than anything, has just died. Chen is trying to put a little bit of pressure on this Choo Tower in mid, and he's not doing terrible at all. He's going to rotate up towards top, and they're going to get themselves another tier 1 tower, but it's still not going to bring Moscow 5 back into this game. They need these early Blink Dagger initiations coming out from the Bat Rider to really pay off.
He now does have the Blink Dagger, so the door is open for M5. Let's see if they're capable of stepping through. Even if they do get a lasso, aside from Gyrocopter's bursts and the Rocket Barrage, there's not that much burst that M5 could put onto one target, so there is a chance that whoever they lasso, be it the OD, the Viper, or the Scarth Mage, that the Duza side will have enough time to help out with a Fissure or an Astral Imprison or just whatever in order to save the lassoed ally. So it's possible that the Blink Dagger on Bat just isn't going to be going anywhere because they don't have enough damage. They're going to go for bottom lane. Looks like Iceberg is going to be the first test. There's the lasso with the Firefly already active. Shock is there from Nexus. Has Shackles and Iceberg. He has Astral Imprison, but I don't think he's going to get it off because he's hexed up immediately. Bat Rider's going to get that kill, and well, that's a pretty well executed gank. But it was on a solo OD who is very far away from any dream of a support, so it's probably just going to be a dead hero anyway.
Yeah, more or less. It's still nice that they get the kill, however, as they might be looking in mid. Vigos is juking through the trees, and he's going to bunk back into a stable. He does have an invisibility rune on his person, trying to get as much intel as possible with it. Not sure if this is actually going to net him anything. I don't know. The Rubik is a pretty tasty target if he has backup, but he does not. It's fairly passive. There haven't been a whole lot of rotations. PGG currently has 2 of the Tornado Creeps, and he's going to get gone on the concussive shot. Now the Fissure. It's going to block him on the wrong side, but it just catches him in the perfect corner for a Skywrath Mage ultimate. And, well, he'll be caught out.
And Chen 231, he has one part of his mech, but that's only the cheapest part, whereas the mech on Viper is completed. Vigos is up on the top lane with an Invis rune, and he's going to go for Unstable perhaps. He's going to pop the Exorcism, but there's backup here for this Rubik. Although Rubik is a little bit too far away from it, he's going to get shredded by the Death Prophet. Another Exorcism used, and to get a kill on the support is usually not worth it. I would say it's still not worth it, but the M5 side need anything that they could get. So any kill, any tower, any free space for farm, it's all going to be very useful as they go for bottom lane now. 4 Staff in Prison. Earthshaker going to slowly wander forward, has a Fissure available, going to whiff. Now Nexus is going to get the Hex on a Shaker, but there's the Echo Slam to cancel out the TP. Easy kill for the OD down bottom. Invested the Echo Slam for it. Could have just been a Enchant Totem instead, but hell, they got this support anyway.
Yeah. I don't know, it's okay that Exorcism is down, I think, for that solo kill, since there's no tier 1 towers, and Moscow 5 don't have really the control over this game to push into the tier 2s very effectively, so I think it's fine. Especially since Duza just dropped an Echo Slam onto the Shadow Shaman when they didn't really have to. Viper in mid, he does have the completed mechanism, is not the easiest target. They're also kind of pinging out the Gyrocopter. It looks like this is the next place we're going to fight. Or potentially up top. If they're able to get any lockdown onto this Death Prophet, she'll be a pretty easy kill for the Skywrath Mage. Skywrath Mage, he's currently just stacking up intelligence for his extra damage from the Arcane Bolt, which is fine. At this point, Skywrath Mage, he'd like to have maybe a little bit more utility in his build. But he didn't have a very good laning stage. We have an Astral in mid. And are they going to follow it up? They do get Fissure for long range. Now Skywrath Mage ultimate on the Gyrocopter. He's healed up by the mechanism from the Chen. And it looks like he's going to 5. No, oldie ultimate. Oh, Hand of God, Gyrocopter. He's still going to survive the last Arcane Bolt. Should not do him in. But it is going to drop him to about 50 HP. So much heal coming out from that Chen there.
That level 2 OD ultimate, though, completely obliterated M5, but Hand of God pretty much nullified all of that damage, or most of the damage. I don't really think it's going to matter that much for Duza in the end that they'd let that Gyrocopter get away, because they could just straight push this mid tier 1 tower. PGG has finished up his mech, and he's going to rotate in towards mid, but with just the Chen and Shadow Shaman, I don't know if they could defend this. They have the Gyrocopter coming in. They could teleport more heroes, but Nexus is going to get silenced up with the Fissure as well. There's not going to be any Skywrath ultimate, but I don't think it's even needed. Nexus is going to get picked off, and now Legion will get the slow onto Blow Your Brain. Mech is going to pop off for Duza. Chen coming in from behind with Vigos also from behind. Blow Your Brain is going to be picked off, but Limbo is not long for life either. Legion and Iceberg both trying to book it. They're going to try to TP both of them. Only one is going to make it out alive, however, as Earthshaker's Fissure is unable to stop the damage from those spirits of the Death Prophet. And ultimately they get the tower, but at the cost of 2 of their cores. That fight was actually pretty decent for M5, despite the fact that they did lose their tower. I don't know how Vigos got behind the enemy along with Chen. I knew Chen was in the position in the enemy jungle, but somehow the Death Prophet got back there.
I think the biggest turning point in this next fight is going to be that Roshan is probably going to fall towards Moscow 5. Duza don't really have a great way to jump into this pit. Now with the Serp Wars committed, it should be a pretty straightforward one for them to take. With the full creep army as well as the Exorcism and Serp Ward still acting. On my screen we actually have a bugged out Exorcism Spirit that's just continuing to fly around, but there we go, it is going to time out. Aegis goes the way of the Shadow Shaman of all heroes.
That is not what I expected. He doesn't have Serpent Wards. And as good as Hex and Shackles are, that's not that important to get out. I would much rather have it on anyone else. The Gyrocopter was a little bit too far away. I guess they figure Death Prophet, if she goes down, then she won't have Exorcism, so there's no point in having her come back, but Shadow Shaman is going to contribute even less than a Death Prophet, so who knows. The Shadow Shaman could play a little bit more aggressively and look for some suicidal hexes or shackles or whatever, knowing that he could just come back alive. they're going to go straight push the tier 1 tower straight after this. The OD ultimate is not up for another 30 seconds. That's a huge amount of damage that Duza are currently not going to have. They do have a good idea of where M5 are all situated, but Earthshaker doesn't have a Blink Dagger, so he can't actually safely go around this corner, although his Hero Siege creep is going to be the best ward you could possibly ask for.
Yeah, it is going to be destroyed, and Moscow 5, they want this tier 2 tower. They should be able to get it eventually. There's just not a great way for anybody to jump in. The creeps are dying on both sides. OD, in the meantime, gets himself a tier 1 tower up in top lane, and, well, making advantage of this standoff that Moscow 5 have committed every single of the heroes towards it. Kiilstofte shot lands on the Death Prophet. It's not going to net them anything. She's too far away.
And this is benefiting Duza Gaming quite a bit because they don't have all 5 heroes in this mid lane. Iceberg is up top, and he's farming away for what I'm assuming is going to be a Sheep Stick. Pretty nice item to have on any hero, let alone an OD. Lots of damage from his orb, as well as that ultimate. Looks like M5, they're going to rotate away from mid and all move towards bottom lane. I mean, if they can't go for a push in the mid lane, I doubt they can go for a push in the bottom. Batrider does have a couple more angles here that he could work with, so it is a possibility that they get initiation onto one lonely hero. Captain Love is the only one who's really in the sights and can be initiated upon. Tron's going to circle around with the Firefly, and now he has an opening. He's going to drag Captain Love back up to the high ground, still in the fire. The damage on Captain Love should be enough to kill him off. He does get the Echo Slam beforehand, though, so he's going to unleash his entire payload before he goes down. In the meantime, they're going to pick off Chen in the back end using Skywrath Mage ultimate, and then Iceberg is there with his ultimate. He's going to bring Bloody Brain down very low on the left side of the fight. They're going to try to take out Vigos, and it will be a very easy cleanup there. Iceberg now going to get hexed up, fighting in the Serpent Warrior, so he'll get Force Staffed out, and he's going to be just fine. Tron lifted up into the air with a buyback from the Rubik. They're going to kill off the Batrider as well. Duza are cleaning this up very, very well, though they do leave their tier 2 tower. This was fighting into Serpent Wards and a whole bunch of Chen creeps, and they got their Earthshaker initiated upon, but they take a good fight, all things considered.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty even buyback from a support on either side, and the kills are more or less even, and the tier 2 tower going down is going to favor Moscow 5 a little bit, but still, Duza take a fight that's probably better than I thought it would be, and now that's going to buy time for Bloody Brain to pick himself up in Aghanims, or not in Aghanims, excuse me, BKB. He's getting very close to it, less than 1,000 gold towards the, until he has the finished BKB, excuse me, which will be very important up against this team from Duza. Against BKB, they have very little that they can actually do. They have the Viper's damage, which is okay, I suppose, but only if he's already low. With the BKB, Gyrocopter can pretty much just go headlong in the enemy team without fearing anything.
And as long as Bloody Brain keeps his positioning really nice and doesn't get initiated upon, then he's going to be near impervious from the Duza side. It is a possibility that Duza get initiation on that Gyrocopter with a long-range fissure or telekinesis, especially since Earthshaker is so very close to his Blink Dagger, but up on top, Iceberg is going to be in a little bit of trouble. There's the lasso, Firefly is there. He can take a lot of damage, but he has a Force Staff, and he has it in prison. He's still taking quite a bit of damage, but they're running out of spells to cast, and Iceberg, he'll get shocked down as the second shock comes out from Nexus. No time for OD to do much of anything, and once again, it's going to be Iceberg playing a little bit too over-aggressive and too out of position. I don't know what the hell Rubik is doing, but he's definitely on the enemy side of the pace.
He is that. He drops a ward down and pulls some creep aggro away. I don't know. He's going to TP back to his mid-tier 2 secret mission coming out from Unstable that I'm not even sure if his team knows what's actually going on. The deep ward's going to be useful, but it was a lot of time used by that Rubik for very little.
And if the M5 team were paying attention at all from where that Rubik was coming from, they should know exactly why he was back there. Really, there's no reason to go that far into the enemy side of the map unless you are placing that exact aggressive observer ward. Like, there is maybe an observer ward in the enemy base if they have some tier 2s down, but with all the tier 2s up, this is the only place that Rubik could have gone. That's the only objective for him. So they could very easily deward it or just avoid that area entirely and be fine. With Tron picking up a gem, he's going to make sure that they do, in fact, get rid of all that work from the Rubik. So ultimately, going on a suicide mission is going to result in not him dying, but very little, as he's just going to end up giving gold to the enemy side.
Yeah, we're just kind of waiting for Moscow 5 to get that completed BKB on the Gyrocopter. As stated earlier, he's going to have it very soon. And once they have that, I think that Moscow 5 can take a push. They still have... Oh, well, they already lost their Aegis in the Shadow Shaman, excuse me. And yeah, I think that they'll be able to take a pretty convincing fight, despite how Duza have a decent amount of gold advantage in this game. On their top cores. On their bottom ones, it's not looking as great. The gold graph is almost entirely zeroed out. Experience slightly in their favor, but nothing too significant. We're still waiting on the Hex coming out from OD, and even with it, oh, they jump on top. They're going to get the gyrocopter before he gets his BKB, but he does buy it before he dies. So it's not the worst death for a gyrocopter, but still losing your quote-unquote position 1 hero, never a good thing.
That's a lot of damage coming out from the Skywrath Mage. That was just a fissure, and then Skywrath Mage got forced in, and then he dropped his payload. It's really hard for anyone from M5 to survive, and even if Gyrocopter had a BKB, he would have been dropped so very low, just being stunned before he is able to pop the BKB. And if that continues, then he will continue to not have a good time, even though he has probably the best defensive item he could possibly ask for. M5, since they do have that item, I think they should be going down towards the bot lane, although Nexus has deployed his Serpent Wards to farm up Ancients. That was at least 2 stacks. I'm not sure if that was worth it, though. I mean, they don't need the Serpent Wards to push, but it certainly helps.
He's going to get a 3rd stack as well, I think. No, these supports are going to time out before he actually kills the entirety of it. Also, with the Gyrocopter on your team, I think just leaving the stack for him is probably better, arguably. I'm not sure what this extra farm on Nexus is actually going to do. It'll be working towards an Aghanim Scepter, which is fine, but he's nowhere near it. I mean, maybe if he just needed that extra 1,000 gold to push him over the edge to get the completed Ags, maybe it's worth it, but even then, I don't know, I think having damage items on Blow Your Brain would be better. If they're going to play this passively, however, it's still not a bad choice. Although they might wish that they had him if the push comes out on top, but Duza are going to back off.
I would say having this Shadow Shaman clear those out is going to be the correct decision if Blow Your Brain had a hand Titus. But currently he's just working with, a very early game fighting base build for the Gyrocopter, and M5, he's not going to get a lot of gold this Gyrocopter unless they take fights, unless they actually get to use this BKB phase and drums that the Gyrocopter has invested in. If he had Ancient Stacks to work with, then that'll kind of make up for the fact that he doesn't have any farm acceleration, but he doesn't. And although the Serpent Wards are good to be upgraded, it's not the most important thing in the world, as PGG in the middle lane, Iceberg is going to jump forward, Fern in prison. Where's the follow-up? Fissure is required, or telekinesis or something. There's the fissure and the telekinesis. Okay, PGG is screwed. And now all of his creeps are probably going to die as well. They take out 1 and they take out 2, and this is going to be 3. PGG, this is like the 2nd or 3rd time he's been a little bit too far out of position, and you can't really afford to be out of position anymore, especially not as a Chen.
No, you really can't. Dying on a Chen, especially when you lose your creep army, is more punished than other heroes as they jump onto the Batrider. He's going to almost be 100 to 0'd by the Skywrath Mage ultimate, and then they pick up the gem on top of that. 2 big pickoffs going the way of Duza over the last minute or so, and their teamfighting potential is going to be pretty big after this. Skywrath Mage is the one holding onto the gem. He has a Yule Scepter and might be able to go for this Gyrocopter. I don't know. He has a BKB, so worst case scenario, it's not going to happen as the Rocket Barrage is doing a lot to the Skywrath. He'll be forced back under his tower. Yule Scepter's up to ignore that missile, and they also bring in Captain Love, who's looking for the Blink Fissure. He's going to find it. It's actually going to clip your brain. Beautiful Fissure Bait turns in BKBs, and now is probably going to kill the Skywrath Mage if he tries to commit for that. So, 10-second BKB charge popped. Win for Duza, I would say.
Yeah, 2 heroes and then a 10-second BKB, and we said before how important the BKB was. Really, the Batrider death shouldn't have happened, because he saw PGE get ganked, and if you stick around after that, then you're kind of asking to die, and he certainly did die. So 21 to 12, and Duza, it looked for a little bit in this game as though they were kind of without a goal and not really going into a clear direction, but after those picks, it seems like they're firmly in the lead now. It feels like they're firmly in the lead now, more so than anything, and they're going to, lose their Viper on the bottom lane as Lasso from the Batrider with the Exorcism from Vigos, more than enough damage to kill off the Viper, but still this is another Exorcism used to get a kill, and that's not going the way of any sort of tower pushing. It's okay, but really M5, if they really want to play this passive, then they just made a couple mistakes with their itemization. It won't benefit them hugely in the long run.
Yeah, I would have liked to see maybe a Helm of the Dominator on the Gyrocopter in place of that drums if they were going to play passively, or maybe even the Hand of Midas. We're going to see a Bloodstone now on the Death Prophet. Had she had the Bloodstone before getting that kill, it might have turned it a little bit better for Vigos, as getting those extra Bloodstone charges is going to make sure that you're able to constantly spam out those Crypt Swarms. But yeah, very peculiar play coming out from Moscow 5. Yule Scepter goes on the Gyrocopter. They're not going to follow this up with anything. BKB popped by Blow Your Brain. He wants to make a turn here. The silence is not going to land on the Yule Scepter of the Skywrath Mage, or potentially Yule Scepters him up. There's tornadoes going on everywhere. They aren't able to catch anybody out. There's Call Down. It's going to land on it too. I believe, yeah, it is going to clip him. Only with the first rocket, however. Unstable is going to be stunned up. Skywrath Mage ulti is almost going to completely miss on to Blow Your Brain. They send back the Skywrath before he dies. Now the Earthshaker dying in the backlines. He's going to buy back OD ultimate committed inside the trees. I think that was the Rubik's as they get vision for Iceberg, and they're going to be able to clean up the OD as well. Earthshaker with his buyback did very little to nothing. I haven't seen another fissure or anything thrown out from him since. And now into the tier 2 tower. There is no tier 2 tower down here. Potentially into the tier 2 tower in mid, or we might even see a high ground push. I don't know. Let's see.
Tron made some pretty big plays in that. He was keeping everyone from Duza away from the Skywrath Mage and Rubik combination, so they were messing with Bat Rider while the rest of Duza's heroes were just fleeing for their lives. They're going to try to go for Vigos, not going to be enough damage. Also, that OD ultimate, it completely missed. He thought that the Bat Rider was going to fly to the left, but instead he flew to the right as they bring in Captain Love right into a whole mess of creeps, but they kill him off before he gets the Echo Slam off. That could have been devastating if they didn't have enough burst for that, but they get the kill regardless. And now Serpent Ward's deployed with the Chen creeps and the Exorcism. This tower is going to go down at the very least. Iceberg in the front lines has gone for a Lincoln Sphere instead of a Sheep. They're going to lift up PGG, and this should be a kill on the Chen, although there's not enough damage going his way. Rubik once again stealing Test of Faith. So he's going to have a nice nuke there. PGG walking up to the front lines, will get with the Mystic Flare, and he will go down super over-aggressive from this Chen. Warrior Brain once again in the BKB, and there's nothing that they could do about it. Legion can take a lot of damage after getting the Skywrath Mage killed off. He is going to buy back. Exorcism is going to time out. There's not much pushing power left here for M5. I think they're going to be forced back as Skywrath Mage is back into this fight, though he's going to get hexed up, and the damage from the Firefly is going to be enough to make this Skywrath Mage ultimately go into a dieback. He will go ahead and die, and they're going to get a pick up on his stable as well. Iceberg going to force staff his way out, but he's the only one alive for Duza. M5, they crack the base wide open off of a fantastic fight and engage in the enemy jungle. But they haven't taken the Raxes just yet. They're still alive, and now an Echo Slam from Captain Love. Mostly onto Tron, and it will be enough to bring him pretty low, while Nexus is going to take the bullet for his team, shackling up Captain Love so that the Bat Rider can escape. Captain Love going to jump forward for another fissure. Has another Blink Dagger soon enough as well, but is he fast enough? There's the jump board for the Enchant Totem, but he misses because he hesitates, and now Vigos is on the run. He has Phase Boots and Yule Scepter. They can't catch him. Captain Love, he canceled his first Enchant Totem. That's going to let the Death Prophet escape. They lose the Tier 3 Duza, and they're all forced to buy back, and they actually might lose the Range Rax. A Hero Siege Creep needs one more shot, and he'll get it off as well. The Range Raxes are down for M5. Not the biggest deal in the world for Duza, but still, they lost that fight really, really badly.
Yeah, I think they kind of just threw bodies at Moscow 5 after losing the initial fight down closer towards their jungle, and yeah, it didn't get any better from them. They bought back on heroes and then just kind of went in one after another where they got focused down. A lot of Crypt Storms being thrown out, and that stacks up as far as the damage is concerned in these team fights. Serpent Wards are now going to be upgraded to Aghanim Scepter level, as we do have that picked up by the Shadow Shaman, and I don't know, I'm not sure if Duza have what it takes to take a convincing fight unless they get a nice Echo Slam coming up from the Earthshaker, and last time we didn't really see that. They focused it on very well inside the lasso coming out from Tron, and they were able to make sure that Captain Love had a very minimal impact in that last team fight. He bought back, and it almost net them a kill on that Death Prophet at the very end, but as you said, the hesitation on the Enchant Totem cost them that kill. I think that would have landed on Vigos pretty squarely.
Yeah, it would have landed, and the only question would have been, do they have enough damage? I think with this OD, they probably would have, although OD going for Lincoln's Force Staff is just going for such a heavy utility survivability-based build. They're going to go for PGG again. Fissure with the damage from Skywrath Mage. The mech not quite going to save him, although it looks like he will turn around, go for Limbo. He has a Hand of God, but it won't be coming out in time. Now Nexus going to shackle up Legion. The damage is there on the Viper, and they're going to kill him off, making a 1-for-1 trade thus far. Iceberg can drop his ultimate onto Vigos, but it looks like the Death Prophet actually has more intelligence than that OD, and now the Death Prophet's going to get a mega kill, killing off the Rubik. Iceberg going to get hexed up. Here comes Captain Love once again for a stun onto Nexus, but the Serpent Wards are going to be deployed. Perfect trap onto the Earthshaker. Vigos wants more. He has a Yule Scepter, and he sees Iceberg. Going to lift up into the air. Is there any stun follow-up? There's no lasso, but they're going to, well, try to chase him down. There's a Force Staff in 9 seconds. He's going to try to turn around and kill off Nexus, but there's the Shackle from Nexus, and that will be a clean sweep of the Duza heroes. This OD going for such an int light build. His ultimate didn't do anything.
Yeah, he now has the Mystic Staff, and yeah, the Death Prophet, let's see, let's compare. Without anything stolen, the OD barely has more with that Mystic Staff completed, and in that fight he didn't have that. So Vigos took literally no damage from that OD ultimate. It is a very flashy one, but if you don't have the items or just the levels to back up that skill, it does nothing. The bottom melee barracks is going to fall in the favor of Moscow 5, and the mid-tier tier 3 is probably going to fall suit, although they might be forced back after this, as Tron as well as Nexus are not looking too healthy.
Yeah, they're going to slide up to the mid lane and try to get behind their Death Prophet, who's holding on to an outrageous 19 Bloodstone charges. The goal has been there, though. M5, they push for a little bit. They put a lot of damage into the mid-tier 3. They take out the bottom lane set of Raxes in its entirety, and they just all escape with their lives. And now they're all pretty stacked. Death Prophet, again, with that 19 Bloodstone, is going to have more regeneration than she'll ever need. And then she's going for a heart, so she's going to be very tanky moving forward. And already we see Duza really struggling to kill off this Death Prophet. If their OD did not go for this Lincoln Sphere and just was going straight Hex with that Ultimate Orb that I said before, then the kill on the Death Prophet will be a little bit more viable. But right now, they're trying to burst down the Chen, and it's an important hero to kill for sure, to deny that Hand of God, but they're diving way too deeply for these kills and investing most of their damage onto a hero that is probably ignorable at this point. M5, they're just going to go straight for Roshan and Duza. I don't think they can contest this.
Ooh, the pickup for Death Prophet is not going to be a heart like I thought it was. It's going to be a Satanic, and honestly, I like this choice. I think if you're just going to sit in the middle of the fight Satanic, even on like a not traditional right-clicking hero, it's going to give you more bang for your buck. I'm not sure the exact math behind it, or what the damage threshold is, but I'm pretty sure that in the middle of the team fight, even Vigos, with not right-clicking that heavily, especially with the Wolf creep coming out from the Chen, he'll be hitting for about 200 to pop, and I think that's going to keep him in the fight more than a heart would. Yeah, it's something you don't see very often, and I'll be interested to see how this actually works out for Vigos.
I mean, I think it's partially just a BM item. He knows that he's going to win, as he's going to get a Shackle onto Captain Love. That's going to be the death of the Earthshaker, and they're going to get a Cyclone onto Rubik as well. Satanic, probably not going to do next to nothing here, but a Heart would have done nothing too. So they get 2 kills on the supports, and now they're going to deploy the Exorcism. Serpent Wards are available, but I don't think they need them. Yeah, Vigos, this was, I want to say, more of a BM item than anything else, but the armor is certainly very useful. And he is lifestealing a lot right now. He's almost completely dueling Iceberg, but the game's already over, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, GG comes out in game 1. It looked pretty shaky for Moscow 5, but then they just kind of blew it wide open. With just like 1 or 2 good team fights for them, they were able to take that first range barracks and the melee barracks soon after. A good game for Moscow 5, although I thought Duza would be able to work a lot better with their advantage that they got early. They just made a couple of mistakes. Itemization choices weren't entirely solid, and I don't know, just little things like that. Either way, that is only going to be game 1. Game 2 coming up shortly, so don't go anywhere. We're going to have more action here on HeflaTV 1.